What a lot of cyclists are involved in is a culture where they're involved in computer analysis, heart rate monitors, timed exercises. But for me that doesn't really work out because I don't have the access to specialist people who know exactly what these things mean. Most of the top riders are afraid to tackle the hour record because when you go for the hour record, it is reported throughout the whole world. If you fail, it can be a serious setback to your career. The trouble is, for me, I didn't even have a career. My career was down the skids before it even started.
In 1993, Graeme Obree was just an amateur cyclist. He was known for his unique riding style, with his arms tucked under his chest and his head up.
I knew Graeme from Cycling Weekly and also from the photos of him winning time trials with his handlebars reversed, drop handlebars reversed, so that was how his special position developed.
Obree's highly unusual bike, nicknamed Old Faithful, also set him apart from the crowd.
Bicycle building is something that I've always been involved with. At the time I started cycling, I couldn't really afford the top-notch equipment that some people were riding around on. I had to build this bike, otherwise I wouldn't have a top-class bike. The most difficult part to produce in this bicycle for me was the narrow bracket itself, which in the end I managed to use an old washing machine. But what I had to do is take the washing machine to bits, and I discovered that behind the drum there was these bearings which whiz round at something like 1200 revs a minute.
So it's part bicycle, part washing machine?
Part bicycle, part washing machine. But unfortunately I can't pedal at that rate. 1200 revs a minute. You got some memory pod as well, haven't you? Oh, not bad idea, yeah.
When Graeme first started out on the road to try and break these records, because of his position on the bike and the type of bike and his own beliefs in aerodynamics, he was almost like a figure of fun. Classed in the same bracket as a peep show at the fair. Very funny to have a look at, but not taken seriously at all.
Despite his maverick status, Obree had a big ambition. He wanted to break cycling's world hour record, a simple time trial where the rider tries to cover as much distance as possible in 1 hour.
Right, Scott, here you go. I was on the dole, and there's nothing else for it. The job opportunities in this part of the country aren't really that great. I also discussed it with my wife, and she said, look, if you're going for it, go for it. 100%, just all out, risk everything on it. My mind was totally focused from that point onwards, purely for that one objective.
During the winter he was getting a bit fed up with having no money because we were unemployed, we could hardly pay the mortgage. So he really was deciding to try and go and get himself a decent job. But I felt that really he had too much talent to do that, so I didn't mind, well I wouldn't say I didn't mind being broke, I was willing to maybe suffer on a little bit, knowing that at the end of the day he was doing something that he wanted to do.
But Obree faced a problem. Chris Boardman, establishment darling and the 1992 Olympic champion, also had his eyes on the record.
Well, the hour record is the blue ribbon record in cycling. It is the 4-minute mile equivalent. It's the record that all the great names have gone for over the years, and hopefully I want to do the same thing basically and put myself up there with them.
Boardman had been born into a family of cyclists, and with the backing of a specialist team and the British cycling establishment, had booked his attempt in France on July 23rd. Knowing this, Obree and his small support team scheduled their attempt just 1 week earlier in a velodrome in Norway.
Chris is a very polite guy and he wouldn't have said anything nasty, but I know that he was seriously annoyed that his hour record attempt, which had been long on the cards, was going to be upstaged by Graeme.
You going to talk to your mum? Yeah. And so, the pair's rivalry was set.
So you're very different from Graeme in the way you go about things?
I think Graeme and I are very, very different people, but the basic philosophy behind what we do is the same. We don't take things for granted. We don't accept the norm. We're very questioning people who always want to know why. Why have we always done it that way? Why should we do it that way? How we've decided to go about implementing that philosophy is very different. I've gone a more scientific route. I want proven fact. And Graeme explores things his own way, decides the way he thinks is right and goes that way. I do a similar thing, but I like it proven to me as well.
From the very beginning, you could see that they would never have had a lot to say to each other, and that they were not natural buddies. Both of them had a massive attention to detail. Chris had his team of people, but Graeme was equally serious about the detail, except that he just did most of it by himself and made the material himself. You have to have a certain deep creative impulse to synthesize all these elements. If you're Chris Boardman, your design, your team, your training. And I think Graeme had those same qualities, but in a different style. And that's why they were so evenly matched when they were at their best.
Obree faced one major problem that Boardman didn't. With no money to speak of, his record attempt required sponsors. The best way to attain them was to prove himself by tackling the comparably easier British hour record, which he did in Herne Hill that Easter.
And he's away. Now, Viv, we've got a long way to go. We've got an hour. And what you're going to do is just bring him round and keep him going.
Obree had a fantastic ride from start to finish, easily beating the British hour record despite poor conditions. And so the scene was set for Norway.
Right, no trouble. Well done, Graeme. Beautiful.
Despite Obree's success, many in the professional cycling world continue to think that his attempt at the record should not be taken too seriously.
I'd also like to say that I've been very touched in the last 3 weeks with everybody coming out saying good luck, and the amount of cheers and congratulations I've been getting from everybody. I've had cards and everybody saying, oh, good luck for the record. I'd like to say, if I let you down, I'll be spitting blood first.
When he went to Norway, he had Old Faithful, his bike. Some people came along and said, Graeme, your bike is not good enough. What you need, if you're going to race at world-class level, is you need a fiberglass bike. So they built a replica, which cost a fortune. And Graeme went for this world hour record the first time on the replica, and he didn't get it.
Because he had this very strange position, the way he would ride. I think the way the handlebars have been designed on this McBarris design wasn't exactly the same physical position as the one he had on Old Faithful. And so it seemed to strain the tendons. So when he got off, his hands were in agony.
At that moment I said, I'm going again. I'm going in Old Faithful.
We'd heard that he was actually going to do it the next day, and he just thought, there's no chance that's going to happen.
He just walked into the stadium, got straight on the bike, did 3 laps, and bang, he was off.
And he didn't want any mucking around with the journalists around him. He wanted to go to the track, get on his bike and go.
Got up, quick bowl of cornflakes, 10 to 9, in the track, and I swaggered in like Butch Cassidy. I was like, let me at it. It's so painful that my scalp, my fingers, my arms, and my genitals went completely numb. At one point, actually, I'd visualised that I was this horse galloping to oblivion. And if worse comes to worse, it's better to die in the boards than not get the record.
Vic Haynes had his stopwatch going, and I was counting off the laps. And it gradually dawned on us that he was beating the world record.
On the 16th of July, 1993, Graeme Obree broke the world hour record with a distance of 51.596 kilometres. But back in Britain, one man was vocally displeased.
We were a bit disappointed, to say the least, when the governing body got behind it, when really they should have said, we're supporting Chris. When we're finished with him, we'll look after you. But I just had to put that out of my mind and get on with my job.
As promised, Boardman made his attempt just 6 days later. Unlike Obree, he would be riding in front of thousands of supporters in a packed velodrome.
o'clock this morning. Chris Boardman to an enormous cheer from a stadium packed with 2,000 spectators, rolls now, and the attempt is on for the world hour record.
This is absolutely impossible for Britain to believe. In 6 magic days, they have presented us with 2 world hour record holders, and Boardman now is going to become the first man ever to take this record over 52 kilometres. The gun goes, all of the famous names have wanted to take this record. None of them have done that. It's Chris Boardman who gets it.
Undeterred, Obree fought back straight away and was now determined to ride in the World Championships that August. To become a member of the British team, Obree knew that he would have to win gold at the British Individual Pursuit Championships. With Boardman being already guaranteed his place in the British team, Obree succeeding at the Nationals would give him a chance to face his rival in person.
The individual pursuit is a classic track event. You start at opposite sides of the track and you chase each other for 4 kilometers. It's like an individual time trial, but you're racing against the guy on the opposite sides.
We're down to 4 riders. All 4 of them have beaten the minimum acceptable standard of 4 minutes 50 seconds. 2 of them, Graeme Obree and Brian Steele, have actually beaten our elite standard of 4:40. So I would expect that that in the final we're going to see Graeme Obree and Brian Steele. The winner will be offered that final place in Norway.
This is the ride for the championship. Graeme Obree in the home straight and Brian Steele in the back straight. We're ready in the home straight, we're ready in the back straight. Over to you, Mr. Starter.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
After pulling his foot out at the starting gun, Obree had to desperately chase his opponent for the majority of the race. By the end of the 4-kilometre distance, he had assured a decisive victory.
Lap is a triumphant frenzy. Down the back straight, round the banking, and through the finish for the gold medal.
Congratulations, Graeme. Superb series. Superb series.
Thanks so much.
I hope you'll be joining us now in the World Championship team.
I certainly will, yeah.
We might need to change the pedals.
Well, I'll just tighten them up a bit, yeah.
In just over a month's time, Graeme Obree would now be cycling against his rival Chris Boardman on the biggest stage of all, the World Championships. Unfortunately, Obree's unexpected success had attracted the attention of the international cycling body, the UCI.
I think that the establishment didn't particularly relish the idea of their sport changing. It did seem to be like some sort of personal vendetta to stop him from changing the face of cycling.
We are very worried because our sport has never been a mechanical sport. The man is on the bike has always been the most important, and now it is as if the bike becomes more important than the man.
If the Obree position is generally accepted, things won't just stop here. You'll find all sorts of contortionists who learn to pedal with their noses on the front wheel of their bike. They'd easily break the hour record and become world champions without actually being real champion cyclists. A mediocre rider could become world champion just by riding with his nose on the front wheel for 5 minutes.
But Obree pressed on. At the start of August, he would go head-to-head with Chris Boardman for the last time before the World Championships.
Where's your dad going? Is he going out on his bike again? He's going to leave you, is he?
Hey, Dad will see you later.
Dad's going out on his bike again.
Hey,
I think
see you
he's
later.
always away on his bike.
Hey.
Yeah, you're a big boy, you'll go with him.
You think I'm away for a week again?
Yeah.
Alright.
Now, when it comes to sheer speed on a bicycle, these 2 men are certainly amongst the best in the world. Olympic gold medalist Chris Boardman and Graeme Obree are here in Northern Ireland for a brace of races in Newtownards over the weekend. Graeme, is there much tension between you two? I mean, the media try to build it up, don't they?
I think it's essential to have a rival.
sport would be boring if you come out and won races without any competition. I think Chris feels the same. We don't like being second, neither of us do, but I think having competition is good for the sport in general.
Spectators have been pouring into Newtownards throughout today, anticipating a close clash of titans as these famous rivals Chris Boardman and Graeme Obree race for the honours.
Unfortunately for Obree, slippery conditions meant that he fell numerous times during the race, and in the end he lost by several minutes to Boardman, who set a new Irish record. By now, Boardman's win over Obree was business as usual.
No, it doesn't really surprise me. But you've got to be very careful. We're both using the same tyres, and they're really on the limit, those tyres, so you've got to be very, very careful. I didn't put too much pressure in today. Like I say, don't take any chances before the World. It's excellent preparation.
I'd like to thank everyone, and I'd also like to say it's unfortunate what happened, the bad luck that Sean and myself, and I know that Chris, he doesn't like to win by someone else's bad luck, but it's the way it goes. So perhaps if there's another event, we could sort this out once and for all.
And the chance to finally sort it came that August at the World Championships. For this event, Obree had brought in his brother-in-law as a new manager, yet he still insisted that he race on his old bike.
And you can work the rest out for yourself. If you're one up, you're one up.
What is the same bike? Same bike, but now I have the pedals on. Shoes bolted on. I was saved, dropped my seat.
Shoes buckled on?
Yeah. By doing that, I dropped my seat position down. My seat's dropped 22 millimetres. Seat and handlebars both dropped.
Yeah.
You recall that the problem he had starting in the final at Leicester, where he pulled his foot out. Now we're making sure the foot won't come out. The shoe and it's an integral shoe and pedal. You just have to be a little bit more careful getting on and off. I would be disappointed if Chris Boardman didn't win a world title. He must go in as favourite for the individual pursuit, and I would also think that it would be a tragedy if he didn't get a medal. If you look at the rides that he did in the national championships at Leicester, then I would think that Graeme Obree is a serious candidate for possibly a top 6 place.
All riders had to race a qualifying time. Only the top 4 fastest would make it through to contend for the medals.
Come on. 24, 424. Is that? Yeah.
Back on your road bike straight away. Outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Very good.
After an unexpectedly quick time from Obree, it was now Boardman's job to outdo him. He set off at a blistering pace.
The first couple of laps aren't too much of a problem. After 4 laps, it becomes extremely painful, and I start to wonder whether I've gone out too fast and whether I can carry this on for the full distance.
He's doing all right. He's level with Graeme Obree. He's down on Ermelo.
The French guy.
Yes. Who we think is very much a one-ride specialist. 24, 7. So that puts him 3rd fastest. Behind Graeme.
Amazingly, Boardman had finished in 3rd place, behind Obree. This meant that the 2 rivals would face each other in the semi-finals, while the French champion, Philippe Ermenot, would face the 4th place finisher.
Graeme was just awesome. I just totally give up trying to predict him now. That's it, I'm just not going to try and predict him anymore.
Because you never thought he would do that?
No, I thought he'd be around 4:30, and if he really did well, surprise us and get inside 4:30. But 4:24, awesome ride.
So you've got
a lot
him
of respect. Yeah, I've got Graeme now. Luckily the battle's not over yet. I think I've got a bit more in the bag. Whether Graeme has, I don't know.
You tell him when you're ready, Graeme, when you're ready.
And under the new rules this year, the 4 best times in the qualifying round automatically go into the semi-finals. Graeme Obree, on a bicycle he has built himself, Chris Boardman on the other side of the track, the Olympic champion and the new world hour record holder.
Well, fate walks in strange ways. The two men that have fought out the world hour record this year have now come together in the semi-finals of the men's 4,000 metres pursuit.
These two riders have been in complete competition all year, one way and another, and Graeme Obree lifting the British National Championship record at 4,000 metres, and now Chris Boardman is taking him on and losing.
He's going to win. He's going to win. They're in the last kilometre. They're in the last kilometre. Come on, Graeme! 2 up! Oh, jeez. 4 laps to go. 2 seconds up.
So the Olympic champion being beaten by Graeme Obree on his unusual bicycle that cost him about 100 British pounds to make. He almost chipped on the bags there. But on the line, Graeme Obree has done it. He's beaten the world record just set a few moments ago by Erminot. 4 minutes 22.668 for Graeme Obree, and he has knocked out the Olympic champion Chris Boardman.
In the final, can't believe it. Oh.
Congratulations, Graeme.
Oh. Oh.
Steady.
Oh, catch me. Oh. Oh. Yeah, big boys are in hold, man. Oh.
That's Chris, that's Chris.
Sorry about that.
Well done, boys.
Very nice. Oh, Chris. I'm going to beat that. Today. Oh, no. You never believe what? And the wee about I confused the signals after I was down.
No.
Come
on, let's go. Wind yourself out.
Congratulations.
There's only one medal, but that'll do. I came on to show some continuity for potential bosses, and I've done that, so it's the bottom line, but I can live with that quite happily.
It now seemed as though Obree's moment may have finally come. The next day, he would face the French champion in the gold medal ride.
So the flag is up for the final of the men's 4,000 metres individual pursuit, with 2 world record holders still hot as they start in the home and the back straight. And Obree has made the slow start, Erminot has made the quick one and has got the slight advantage.
Obree had an unusually slow start and finished his first lap over a second behind the Frenchman.
The clock, by the way, gives the time and then the gap of the rider who is behind. So Graeme Obree is just over 1 second down on the start. That's a long way.
By the 4th lap, he had reduced the gap to almost nothing.
Erminot knows now he's in trouble. He's fallen back 0.6 of a second. Erminot beginning to fall away now. And this, in fact, is a fantastic ride by Graeme Obree. He's rolling round the stadium. He's now almost a second in the lead from being a second behind, and Graeme Obree at these speeds again is approaching a record schedule.
He's got him in sight. He's nearly got him in sight. He's going to catch him. He's up. He's going to beat the record again.
Graeme Obree is running to away with his World Championship. The question is, what will the world record be? 420 is the figure that Boardman said was always possible. He never thought it would be Obree. Obree has got it. 4 minutes 20.894, a new world record for Graeme Obree. Philippe Erminot takes the silver medal, 4:23.785. That before these champions would have been a great time, but now, unbelievably, almost 3 seconds away from Graeme Obree. That's a move, steady on, Graeme.
Right time?
4:20.
Graeme Obree had not only won the gold medal, but set a new world record in the process.
So Graeme Obree, 27 years of age from Scotland, becomes the world champion for 4,000 metres. And Ian Emerson, the president of the British Cycling Federation, will present the most coveted jersey in cycling to him, and that is the rainbow jersey, and only a world champion is allowed to wear that.
I'm very happy for Graeme. I know what he's feeling. You know, it's his day, and I wouldn't take that jersey off for a week or so.
We sat on the plane when we flew home to Scotland from Norway
he did, you know, was kind of shy. But do you think anybody knows who I am? And I said, Graeme, the whole plane knows who you are. And sure enough, within minutes, the captain announced that Graeme was on the plane, and everybody in the whole plane just cheered. It was a beginning of a new world for him.
Graeme Obree returned to his hometown in Scotland as the new world champion. Sadly, the following February, the UCI suspended his bike from road racing.
It starts, Dear Graeme, there are many comments being made about the UCI decision to stop the use of the so-called OBREE bike. We have not banned the bike, but rather suspended its use in road racing. Please do not believe that there is any negative UCI view of the capabilities of the bike concept you have developed. Yours sincerely, Hein Verbruggen. I feel it's quite a nice letter, but it's not very informative. That's the problem with it.
With his bike still legal on the track, Obree claimed back his world hour record from Chris Boardman that April, with a distance of 52.713 kilometres. Unfortunately, that summer, the UCI entirely banned both Graeme's bike and riding position.
And a certain amount of controversy surrounding the bicycle of Graeme Obree, the Scot, who is the world hour record holder.
They informed him of their decision just 1 hour before the 1994 World Championships.
Obree coming up to the line here with a time of 4:32.628, which will give him the third fastest qualifying time. But in fact, after his qualifying round there, Graeme Obree was disqualified by the referees, and they say that in fact it was actually his position, because you're not allowed to touch the handlebars with your chest, and that's what they say Graeme Obree was doing here. So his time, the third best qualifying time, was removed from the standings.
Undeterred, Graeme came back with a new riding style, the Superman position, which he used to win his final world title in Colombia in 1995.
Watch the clock now, they come back to the line, 4:24, 1:82, Graeme Obree wins the World Championship.
Despite his victory here, his position was once again banned, and he never again rose to the same level of success as before. In the years that followed, Graeme suffered from increasing mental health problems, and in 2001, after cycling to a local stables, Graeme tried to hang himself. Fortunately, he was found in time, and his life was saved. In the end, Graeme Obree never truly made it into the world of professional cycling, and after retiring from serious competition, he continued to make his living as an author and as an accomplished public speaker.
What Graeme has proved is that anything is possible. And it's basically what any great artist will prove. Somebody comes along and they bring a quantum leap in what is possible. So I think it's not going to be the same story, but it's going to be something else. And we don't know what that is, and that's what makes sport so wonderful.